stuck between a libertarian and a Republican? Welcome to Publitarian Podcast.
Good news, I did not die of coronavirus. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everybody. This is Ronald Johnson, Publitarian, coming at you again with another episode of Publitarian Podcast. And last time I did the podcast, I wasn't feeling well, and I'm like, hope it's not corona. No, it was not corona, just seasonal allergies. So I am back again for this weekend edition of Publitarian Podcast. That's right, your Tier 1 Humble Podcaster is back, and it is the weekend. I am recording this on the weekend. Normally I do this on the weekday. Doesn't really matter right now because a lot of the country, every day is the weekend. And nobody is working for the weekend. So that's how it is right now in crazy clown world, my Corona land. The Publitarian drink of the podcast is a jungle bird, not to be confused with the Denny's Super Bird. So, two reasons why it's been a couple of weeks and I haven't recorded a podcast. One, I just don't like to podcast angry. And with the corona hysteria and the dumb legislation that's going on and everything else, I'm like, you know what, I just don't need to do this right now. And two, I just did not have the voice for it. Tonsils were inflamed, pollen shoved down my throat by cruel Mother Nature, and here we are. No Tier 1 podcaster. So, I am back, and I'm going to make a concerted effort to not be angry during this podcast because the world is not in shortage of angry white Gen Xers yelling into a microphone. So I'm going to try and provide another kind of service at this podcast. Also, before I forget, a shout out to everyone that DM'd me and was asking me how I was feeling and checking in and providing well wishes to me. Thank you so much for that. Yep, I'm fine. It's just like a little tickle in the throat left. Other than that, I'm firing on all four cylinders, ready to roll. So I wanted to kind of decipher what's been going on in the news cycle with the crazy corona, the Chinese. Let's not forget the Chinese coronavirus. I swear. The right side of the aisle, I mean, I am in the right side of the aisle. It is my camp, but I swear it's like herding cats. You just cannot get us to freaking agree on everything. I had some right-wingers going, no, don't call it the Chinese virus. That's racist. And then the other side goes, no, that's what the Chinese want you to do. It's the extra double dog Chinese bat Wuhan virus. Ugh. We just love to argue. Our side of the aisle loves to argue, and we're so ideological that you can't get us all in a room at the same time, except maybe to vote for Trump, and even then, you've got your never Trumpers. So it is my hope and prayer that the right side of the aisle comes together and stops all the infighting. But, you know, who knows if that's going to happen or not. There is some liberal cannibalism out there, but not as much as it is on the right. Come on, guys, get together. So, like I said, I'm going to try and keep this light. I don't know. As soon as I start talking about the news, I, like everyone else, dive into a pit of despair and cry and moan and wail and gnash my teeth. So I'm going to attempt to not do that on this edition. So, the president was a racist for closing the borders, according to the mainstream media and the Democrat talking heads. Closes the border early. We don't have near the Wuhan damage that some of these other countries are happening. And now Trump is not doing enough. So predictable. That's just the typical media. Like, I knew that was going to happen. But they've now, depending on how conspiratorial you want to get, on this podcast, I talked about how Chinese nationals were indeed busted coming across the border. And then a really odd case of dead birds being found in a suitcase from a Chinese national coming across the border. And the media is repeating Chinese talking points. Now, I mean, if you dig deep enough, you see that China owns at least pieces of the American news media, so there's no conflict of interest there. There's still a beacon of nonpartisanship. Haha. So anyway, there's a lot to decipher. There's a lot going on. There's so many like tinfoil hats conspiracy theories going on that I can't decipher the conspiracy theories from the tinfoil hat conspiracy theories. And oh my gosh, it's just nuts right now. My gut is telling me that this coronavirus craze is not the pandemic that everybody's making it out to be. But, before you run off with that information and say, Ronald Johnson said, don't worry, everybody lick each other and everything will be fine. No, please don't run off just yet. It's not the pandemic that the media is making it out to be, which the president was right in calling the media's coverage of this a hoax, to which he got credited saying the coronavirus was a hoax. If you look at numbers, infection rates, raw data, there's other diseases that are worse and more infectious than this. And I don't understand why we just shut everything down. Well, Ronald, we're doing this to save the old people and the immunocompromised. Okay. The old people and the immunocompromised can certainly quarantine themselves. I mean, I'm not, trying to leave people behind. There's a member of my family that's immunocompromised, and certainly members of my family that are elderly that I care about and love and do not want to have succumb to the coronavirus. But at the same time, Occam's razor, like just logically thinking about this, I can't see this being the pandemic that everybody is making it out to be. And I guess the weeks and months will tell whether I'm incorrect about this or not. But I think we took the necessary measures to stop a lot of the damage in time. And everybody keeps pointing to Italy. Well, look how bad Italy has it. Well, Italy had an actual stream of citizens from Wuhan, the actual city, Wuhan, China, the province, coming over to Italy and working in their leather factories. So that's why Italy got hit so hard. But, again, here's where we go into tinfoil hat territory. Those news stories are true about the Chinese nationals being infected with corona coming across the border and the weirdo having the dead birds in his briefcase. Like, those are true pieces of news. So I don't think it's the huge pandemic that everybody thinks it is, but I also, from looking at the media, it does look like it was some kind of, okay, maybe not an engineered weapon. Okay, here's a theory. I just thought about this. What if it's not the evil boogeyman weapon that got released? What if it was an evil boogeyman bioweapon that China was working on, and then, oh shit, got out by mistake, and they're like, oh shit, oh no, oh crap, now what do we do? And so then they try and lock it down, and now it's starting to spread. So maybe what had happened was the Chinese nationals that were sneaking across the border and the dude with the dead birds in his briefcase was trying to infect the United States of America as payback for us kicking their ass economy-wise and for all the sanctions and the tariffs and everything else. And they just kind of whoopsie, it got out and hit their fresh meat markets, fresh in quotations, and ended up infecting their own populace. So I think this virus maybe had an intended consequence, and they had an oopsie oh shit situation, and it unleashed itself upon the populace and the globe. Because if you look at it from China's standpoint, there's no good reason to do that to your own people or other countries that aren't placing sanctions on you and threatening your economy like the United States. So there we go. That's my shoot from the hip conspiracy theory regarding that, which may be correct. But I've never seen the country on like such a lockdown before. I happen to live in Florida, the penis of America. It's hot enough and humid enough here to where I don't think we're going to have a huge problem with it. There's some isolated cases here, but it's 100 degrees and humid here all the time, and viruses don't like that. So I think we're going to be okay in this particular state, but like New York is on full-on pandemic, meltdown, lockdown, people crying in the streets. And of course they have more cases there. It's New York, it's an international hub, and people are all packed together in that little island like sardines. So of course it's going to spread there. And the latest news media talking point now is the United States has the more confirmed cases of coronavirus than anywhere else. And I wish they would just take a step back. Yeah, we've also done more testing than anybody else. So, of course, we've got more confirmed cases than anybody else because we've done the testing. So there's more cases because we have done more testing. That doesn't mean we have more of the virus. I can't believe that the news media is printing that. But, I mean, there's stories they've had to walk back. Okay, I'm going to start getting angry about it now, so I'm going to stop talking about it. But, oh my gosh. The guy eating the pool cleaner because it had a name similar to the chemicals that Trump said showed promise in treating corona, and now it's Trump's fault that guy ate the pool cleaner. Hey, dude, don't eat pool cleaner. You know what? I am a Christian, but I think some Darwinism can take care of some things there. Like, if you're dumb enough to eat pool cleaner, then maybe you just not need to be in the gene pool. Because if you are, you're damn sure probably going to vote Democrat.
Oh, yeah!
But I'm not going to get angry about that. Just the media has been nuts about this. I think the media has done more damage to the country right now than Trump ever could and the coronavirus ever could. If you look back in the Obama years during the H1N1 pandemic, it took Obama 6 months to get his rear end gear, and everybody still to this day thinks he's the greatest thing next to sliced bread. And we had thousands and thousands of deaths because of the H1N1. Coronavirus, we've had hundreds. And I'm not trying to make death trivial. I'm just facts and data. Looking at it in a large-scale petri dish of 330 million people. Hey, man, 0.0002%, not horrible. But the Democrats and their willing accomplices, as the great Limbaugh says, in the media, are just pushing this. One, because they are allies of the Democrat Party. And two, they just do it for ratings. The more eyeballs they have glued to that, Fox included, I'll put Fox News in that too. The more eyeballs they have glued to that screen, just hitting the feeder bar, waiting for that next news pellet to come out like some kind of little lab rat. The more people they have doing that, the more money they make from ad revenue. So that's just how it is today in the United States of America. I know I have international listeners too. I hope you guys are faring okay during this time. Some good news, though. Some silver linings in all of this. I know people have talked to their families more. I know that people have checked in on their elderly neighbors more. I know that people have gotten a little bit closer, not actually in distance, but maybe in love and communication. That's been good. And I think another silver lining will be a wake-up call to Gen Xers, millennials, Gen Zs that still have this I can be in a lot of debt mentality and be okay and just live paycheck to paycheck, yada, yada, yada. See, the bottom has fallen out. There's a lot of people that have lost their jobs, and I'm okay. I'm not a millionaire, but I'm okay. And I think this will be a wake-up call to people to start managing their finances better, prepping a little bit better. I'm not talking about like Jesse Ventura build an ark underground, like bunker style, where we can survive the zombie apocalypse. I just mean like basic preparations, like financial preparations, food preparations, stuff like that. Just having like basic emergency stuff together. Because we've had generations of people in this country now that haven't really lived through anything that really tests their mettle, that really tests Americans and the spirit of the United States of America. So, silver lining about this, I think this will start waking people up to prepping and being better stewards of their finances, and maybe not taking everything that the mainstream legacy media says as gospel. That is my hope and prayer anyway. But anyway, other than that, this has been the weekend edition of Publitarian Podcast. If you want to reach out to me, you can. I am publitarian@gmail.com or thepublitarian@gmail.com. I'm on most of the social medias. I can't say I'm on all the social medias anymore. I think I've pretty much given up on Gab and some of the others. I'm still on Minds, and I'm still on Parler. But seriously, I get zero engagement on those places. Instagram is my hub. I've got thousands of followers. I get people that engage with me every day. So obviously you can always DM me on Instagram if you have a problem. Or a question, I mean. I just try to be fair in my analysis. Yes, I do lean right just because I'm more logical and fact-based, but I am a musician, IRL, so I do have a heart, and I tend to think about this stuff emotionally as well. So I try to be as fair as I can about this, but really, when you look over at the left side of the aisle, there's nothing that I recognize over there anymore. Because a lot of people left lean because they think with their hearts a lot when they're younger, but me included. But there's just nothing on that party, that side of the aisle, that I recognize anymore. It's gone just full-blown chaos. So yes, I will continue to try and reach out. Yes, I will continue to try and red pill. But a lot of that left side of the aisle is a lost cause. But let's continue to try and reach out, continue to talk to people, continue to share the memes, continue to engage on these social media platforms. I know we get shadow banned. I get shadow banned all the time. My impressions, my activity is like negative 30,000 last time I saw that. Negative 30,000. That means the 40, 50,000 that saw my post, it's now negative 30,000. So if you aren't seeing my posts, that's why I'm shadow banned. Best you can do if you want to see me and you're not seeing me on social media is to do the notification thing where you get notifications if I make a post. But yeah, so that's where we're at. So I do hope all of you stay in good health and that you all prepare and that you all just really just take a step back and not keep glued to whatever media you're feeding your ears and eyeballs, and just count your blessings, step back, take a mental, emotional inventory of what's going on around you, and we will get through this. You know how I know? Because we're the freaking United States of America. We get through everything because this is a kick-ass country. And that will do it for me on this edition of Publitarian Podcast. I will see you guys on the next one. Hopefully it won't be a 2-week break this time. See you guys. Bye.
You've been listening to Publitarian Podcast. Copyright 2020.